Rescue Command Center. This is Y News.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, May 19, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us for the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Tiro.
And here are the top stories tonight. The country's health department explains why COVID-19 test is not for all.
Malacanang says that the right term to use is expanded targeted testing and not mass testing.
The Labor Department calls on contractors to hire more construction workers affected by the COVID-19 crisis. San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora lifts the liquor ban in the city.
Brazil now has the third largest coronavirus outbreak in the world.
And recreational vehicle owners and medical professionals join together to help one another in finding a housing solution for frontline workers in need of isolation. First in the news, mass testing for COVID-19 remains an issue in the Philippines because some think that it is for everyone. The Department of Health reiterates that the term expanded targeted COVID-19 testing is more accurate. It is because the government's resources are limited for now. It also prioritizes individuals who really need to be tested. Based on the previously issued DOH guidelines, the first priority for COVID-19 testing are those who show symptoms of the disease, those who have exposure to a positive case, and those with travel history in countries and territories with COVID-19 cases. Subsequently, the government has included those who are in the vulnerable sector, such as the senior citizens, people who are immunocompromised, and the frontline healthcare workers. Malacanang stands firm. The government has expanded targeted testing for COVID-19 in place. Rosa Licos tells us why.
Malacanang defends itself from criticisms that the government has left the private sector with the mass testing for COVID-19 on returning employees. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque also hits back at reports that say the national government has no policy on extensive COVID-19 tests. In fact, the Duterte administration targets to have 30,000 COVID-19 tests per day by May 30.
From the very beginning, we have had a systematic policy of expanded targeted testing, at sa tingin po natin, ang sinusunod lang natin is benchmark recognized internationally, specifically by the WHO.
The palace official adds the government is eyeing to test 1.5 to 2% of the country's more than 100 million population. Meanwhile, Secretary Roque says it's not right to use the term mass testing.
Ang tawag po dapat ay expanded targeted testing. Okay? Wala pong bansa sa buong mundo na tinetest ang lahat ng kanilang mga mamamayan. Kaya nga po mali ang terminong mass testing.
Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A group of medical professionals in the country does not recommend the use of COVID-19 rapid antibody test kits as clearance for employees who are returning to work. Aiko Miguel, who has been monitoring the issue on COVID-19 tests in the country, will tell us why.
Rapid antibody-based test kits are not standalone tests. It is not cost-efficient for companies to shoulder the cost of conducting tests on their employees. This must be considered as some local governments and companies are pushing for rapid antibody-based test kits to make sure that workers returning to work are clear of coronavirus infection. According to representatives of the medical societies in the country, rapid antibody test kits may only release false positive and false negative results. This is why RT-PCR testing is necessary to confirm the results of rapid antibody test kits.
It will only condemn us to the false positives. And managing them and spending resources and isolating and quarantining unnecessarily mga false positives.
The medical societies stand firm that workers with symptoms of COVID-19 must not go to work. Employers, on the other hand, should understand their condition and support their medical needs rather than conducting rapid antibody tests. The medical societies also recommend what they consider as the cheapest and most accurate test for fitness to return to work, which they call the 14-day test. This would serve as a much clearer indicator that workers are healthy and fit to return to work after 14 days of not developing any COVID-19 symptoms.
Kapag may sakit ka, stay at home na lang, no? And maintindihan yan ng management because you do not want people be parang mahahawak.
Meanwhile, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara clarifies that employees are not required to undergo a COVID-19 test.
Ang testing na ginagawa ng pamahalaan ay patuloy rin para sa mga symptomatic o yung mga may simptomas. Kung ang inyong empleyado ay kinakakitaan ng simptomas, maari po natin silang papuntahin sa isang licensed testing center.
Once an employer decides to subject an employee to a test using an FDA-approved rapid antibody-based test kit, then this should be done every 14 days. Based on DOH guidelines, PhilHealth will not cover the cost of COVID-19 tests on employees. Instead, it will be shouldered by the employer or company. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard announces it has released another list of returning OFWs who have tested negative for COVID-19. This new list includes additional 4,104 repatriated Filipino workers who have undergone RT-PCR testing for COVID-19 conducted by the Subtask Group for the repatriation of OFWs. Just visit the PCG's official Facebook account where you will see the link to the official list. The quarantine clearances of those on the list will be given to them any day this week. Malacanang will look into the situation of overseas Filipino workers who have been staying for a longer period of time than expected in various quarantine facilities. The palace will also determine the reason behind the delays in releasing COVID-19 test results. Some OFWs have been in quarantine facilities since April.
We will look into this now. We will go out of our way and actually ask OWA for an inventory, lalong-lalo na kung ilan na yung mga napakatagal nang nag-aantay ng resulta, and really ask yung mga laboratories, kaya nyo ba o hindi?
And the Presidential Security Group announces that 160 of its personnel have tested positive for COVID-19 after submitting to rapid tests since March. However, PSG Commander Colonel Jesus Durante clarifies that only one of those personnel has tested positive through the confirmatory RT-PCR test. The PSG official adds that PSG members have already recovered. He does not have contact with or exposure to President Rodrigo Duterte because he is not a member of the president's close-in security detail. The PSG also conducts rapid tests on its personnel and their dependents regularly. Those who turn out positive for COVID-19 are immediately placed in isolation, quarantine, and a PCR test after 14 days.
Last week, the Philippine National Police placed 2 of its camps under lockdown due to a large number of police personnel who have tested positive for COVID-19. One of those camps placed under lockdown was Camp Karingan, where 13 police officers and personnel have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Elsewhere in the Eastern Police District headquarters, 24 personnel have also tested positive for COVID. Now, the PNP has begun to place stricter measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19 within its national headquarters in Camp Crame. In an exclusive report, Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
In Camp Crame, the PNP Headquarters Support Service or HSS implements stricter health safety protocols through an order dated May 14, 2020. An HSS memorandum order states that beginning May 18, all PNP personnel must present their QR code before they could enter Camp Crame. The QR code signifies that the police officer had undergone and tested negative in a rapid test for COVID-19. On the other hand, civilians with transactions inside Camp Crame are required to present a medical certificate stating they are COVID-19 negative.
Sa lahat po ng mga civilian na papasok ng ating himpilan sa Campo Crame ay kinakailangan na mag-present ng medical certificate na sila po ay fit to go out or nakarecover sila kung sila man ay nagkasakit. O kaya naman ay fit and healthy sila, no, na lumabas. So yun po ang mga kakailanganin bago makapasok po sa Campo Crame. Ito ay bahagi ng ating mga biosafety measures, patuloy na pinapatupad sa ilalim ng modified ECQ.
Yesterday, the PNP HSS released a directive that individuals who have yet to undergo a COVID-19 test must present a government-issued authorized person outside of residence ID or a quarantine pass in Camp Crame's holding area in order to get a self-assessment, health form, and a contact tracing form. The person must fill the form out and return it to the police before leaving the camp. PNP spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Bernard Banak explains this does not apply to the general public.
Ito po ay para lamang sa mga nagtatrabaho sa loob ng Campo Crame at hindi po ito para sa general public. So lahat po ng mga pinapayagan ng pumasok, kabilang na riyan ang mga empleyado at iba pang mga sibilyan na kukuhanan po sila ng personal details at pag-fill-upin sila ng form upang mapadali natin ang contact tracing, no, pagkatapos ng kanilang pagpasok sa Campo Crame. At form na yan ay ibibigay nila din sa mga tauhan natin, sa mga gates. No? So ito ay limitado lamang, hindi pa ito para sa general public.
General Banak also clarifies that Camp Crame remains inaccessible or shut for the general public. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The local government unit of Parañaque City will implement a 3-day strict community quarantine, but only in parts of several barangays. Asher Cadapan Jr., who monitored the situation in Parañaque City today, will give the details why.
Parañaque City has recorded an alarming number of COVID-19 cases in some barangay. As of May 18, the City Health Office has reported 648 cases in Parañaque, which includes 261 active cases, 293 recoveries, and 42 deaths. Out of 16 barangays in Parañaque City, Barangay San Dionisio, San Antonio, and Baclaran have the highest numbers of COVID-19 cases and continuously increasing.
Alam mo, yung in-implement namin yung massive testing, medyo tumaas, ano? Pero the thing is, yung mga tao, imbis na mag-quarantine, parang relax.
In a bid to reduce the number of cases recorded in a day, the city government will be implementing a 3-day strict community quarantine, but only in identified areas and not the entire barangay.
Hindi naman natin ilalockdown ang barangay, kundi kalye, no? Ibig sabihin, kung ang kalye na to sa area nyo mataas, as much as possible, wag na lalabas talaga ang tao.
The City Health Office will soon conduct rapid testing on 3,000 residents in every barangay. Individuals who will turn out positive for COVID-19 and even probable and suspect cases will be isolated and treated accordingly. The Parañaque City government will issue an executive order regarding the date of implementation of the strict community quarantine to give residents ample time to prepare. Asher Cadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the local government of Santa Maria, Laguna is now focused on finding the contacts of the municipality's first COVID-19 case. SML patient number 1 was a 24-year-old female patient who died in East Avenue Medical Center on May 6. Records show that patient had been diagnosed with autoimmune encephalitis. The swab test results, which came out on May 13, indicate that the patient was positive for coronavirus infection. According to Municipal Mayor Cindy Carolino, all local government employees who came in contact with the patient are now in mandatory home quarantine. Barangay Adia, where the patient lived, has been placed on total lockdown. It has been disinfected also. The patient's immediate family have undergone swab tests awaiting their results.
Let's now take a closer look at the updated tally of the coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached a total of over 4.8 million confirmed cases in 188 countries, regions, and sovereignty. The fast-spreading disease has claimed more than 318,000 lives, while nearly 1.8 million patients across the globe have recovered from the coronavirus infection. The United States of America remains to have the most confirmed cases in the world, with a total of more than 1.5 million positive cases, including more than 90,000 deaths. Brazil has climbed up to rank 3 with more than 255,000 cases. That's from being number 4 yesterday. Peru, as of yesterday, has entered the top 12 countries in the tally of countries worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the Philippines Department of Health reported today that as of 4 p.m., 224 new cases have been recorded, bringing the total confirmed cases in the country to 12,942. We have lost 6 more patients. Now, the country's death toll stands at 837. With the help of our valiant medical frontliners, 114 more people have won their battle against the invisible enemy. That brings the total recoveries nationwide to 2,843. Up next in Y News. Lower house to investigate spike in electric bills during the enhanced community quarantine period.
The Labor Department calls on contractors to hire more construction workers affected by the COVID-19 crisis.
San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora lifts the liquor ban in the city.
More reasons behind the stories when Y News returns.
This is a message to all of our frontliners in the media. We really appreciate what you do for the people and for our country. Being out on the field working now puts your health at risk and also compromises certain things like uncertainty and of course anxiety from being away from our families and our homes. But we'd like to let you know that we consider you our heroes as you continue to bring facts, the news to us, therefore giving the people who are on enhanced quarantine at home peace of mind, knowing what is really going on in the field and all over the country, because all we really have is you. So my message to everyone is to stay safe, use your personal protection equipment, and always give everything to God and always pray. We hope to see all of you after this. Take care. God bless. Salamat sa Diyos sa lahat sa inyo.
Kailangang magsuot ng face mask kapag may ubo, sipon at hirap sa paghinga. At ang health workers o kung nag-aalaga ng pasyenteng may sintomas ng COVID-19, ang surgical o medical mask at N95 mask lamang ang nirerekomendang gamitin ng WHO. Kapag isusuot ito, hawakan ang straps at itakip sa bibig at ilong ang mask. Siguraduhin nasa labas ang collared side. Ilagay ang straps sa tenga at pisilin ang metal strips sa ilong. Hawakan sa straps kapag tatanggalin ang mask, saka ito itapon. At huwag kalimutan na maghugas ng kamay. Tandaan na mahalaga ang kalinisan at kaalaman para maiwasan ang sakit. A reminder from UNTV, your public service channel.
Welcome back to Y News. The lower house of Congress will investigate the sudden spike in the cost of electric bills of Meralco customers during the enhanced community quarantine period. Mon Hokson reports why.
Lawmakers have filed House Resolution 879 at the lower house of Congress to initiate the investigation on high Meralco power rates during the enhanced community quarantine period. This after various complaints from Meralco customers posted on social media due to the sudden spike of their electric bills. Some even triple the average monthly bill. According to House Resolution 879, it is stated in the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act that unreasonable increases in the prices of basic utilities are not allowed. But for Malacanang's part, it says that it will wait for the Energy Regulatory Commission's decision on the matter. Meantime, the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC has ordered Meralco to explain the basis of its computation on the high electric bills of customers during the ECQ period.
Nagagalak naman po kami that ERC acted swiftly even without intervention from the palace.
Meralco clarifies its computation is reasonable. The power distributor adds that the high electric bill is due to unpaid bills of customers last March and April. Those unpaid bills had been added to the succeeding billing month to be collected in staggered basis. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
As the government allows the resumption of public and private construction work based on the modified enhanced community quarantine guidelines, the Department of Labor and Employment is appealing to contractors to hire more construction workers. Joanne Nano will tell us why.
The country's Labor Department data shows that around 2.6 million Filipinos have lost their jobs because of the government's implementation of community quarantines in a bid to curb the transmission of COVID-19. Many businesses were forced to temporarily close. Others even opted to shut down their operations amid the COVID-19 crisis. Now, the Department of Labor and Employment calls on contractors to hire more laborers.
Dagdagan nila from 10 to 20%. Yung mag-aasa, umari gawin yung manualize yung mga workers. Huwag mo nang mechanize. Sa halip na ng bako, magdagdag lang ng mga siguro 20 na worker.
According to Dole, the government has allowed the 100% resumption of the construction industry. Dole also urges contractors to provide barracks or accommodation for their workers as mass transport in Metro Manila remains suspended. Meanwhile, the Labor Department also calls on the private companies to provide transportation for their workers who are required to report to their offices physically. If this is not doable, the company may instead adopt adjusted work scheme or extend the temporary suspension of their operations.
Kung hindi mo madala, kung wala kang transportation, hindi makakapasok yung worker. O pag hindi nakapasok yung worker, walang sweldo. O ngayon, kung hindi mo kayang i-provide ng transportation para sa mga workers mo, then mapipilitan ka mag-stop operation ka, temporary closure ka.
Employers are required to submit their adjusted work scheme to DOLE. The labor chief also emphasizes that employees who need to report in their workplaces are not required to submit themselves to a COVID-19 test unless they are symptomatic or had been exposed to a COVID-19 patient. Johanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Authorities were surprised with the influx of mall-goers at the weekend, the first days of MECQ in Metro Manila. Social media posts have shown that physical distancing protocols were breached. Mall operators are now warned they will face penalties if they fail to impose the minimum health standards within their stores. Jo Anano is back to tell us why.
The Department of Trade and Industry warns the government may file charges against malls who will fail to comply with the social distancing policies and minimum health standards set by the Department of Health and the IATF against COVID-19. DTI Undersecretary Ruth Castelo explained in today's episode of Serbisyong Bayanihan that such failure is a violation of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act.
Any violation po ng sinasabi natin ng mga kanya-kanyang ahensya will be a violation of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. May penalty po yun, sir. May imprisonment din. Ang penalty po nun, maximum of 2 years. At ang fine po, may at 10,000 pesos hanggang 1 million pesos.
According to the DTI official, they have called the attention of operators whose malls were found to have an influx of mall-goers during the weekend, the first 2 days of MECQ in Metro Manila. While the government and mall operators are exerting all efforts to prevent the further transmission of COVID-19, the DTI calls on the public for cooperation.
Sila rin po, pag nagpunta sila sa mall, sana naman po rin, sir, maging conscious lang tayo na dumistansya sa mga katabi, huwag tayong makipagsiksikan or make sure na nakasuot tayo ng mask. Disiplina lang po rin talaga, sir, ang kailangan natin para mag-succeed dito sa ginagawa natin.
The DTI also clarifies that quarantine passes are no longer a requirement as malls reopen in MECQ areas. However, it is still up to the local government which hosts mall and shopping centers whether to require quarantine passes. The DTI has also lifted the price freeze as several areas shift to MECQ and GCQ. The DTI also pointed out that increasing the prices of basic and prime commodities should not be done without approval. Johanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Interior Department confirms that 23 barangay officials are facing criminal charges in connection with the Social Amelioration Fund anomaly. Meanwhile, according to DILG Secretary Eduardo Año, the PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, or CIDG, is preparing cases in 10 other barangay officials. Those who are facing charges include barangay chairmen, barangay councilors, treasurers, secretaries, social workers, and barangay personnel. They were found to have violated the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and the Bayanihan to Heal as One law. The DILG will also issue a show cause order to those barangay officials who are facing administrative charges before filing the cases in the Office of the Ombudsman.
The traffic situation.
The Police Regional Office 6 filed criminals and administrative cases against 3 policemen in Western Visayas who were found to have violated the liquor ban. The policemen were identified as Police Sergeant Roy Panagiton, assigned in the Sebaste Municipal Police Station in Antique, Police Corporal Arnie Luminario from the Iloilo City Police Office, and Police Staff Sergeant Paul Pingoy, assigned in the Regional Intelligence Division.
All of them were in civilian clothes, indeed, and trying to cross the border with the intention of bringing out all the boxes of alcoholic beverages.
The 3 policemen have been relieved from their posts and brought to the Regional Headquarters Support Unit. San Juan City lifts the liquor ban in the locality according to Mayor Francis Zamora. The city releases its signed ordinance number 36, amending the liquor ban enacted on March 26 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The ordinance states that the move is part of the easing of restrictions as the city transitions to modified enhanced community quarantine. It is also for economic reasons to help retailers and small businesses operating within the city to improve their sales amid the present health crisis. The consumption of alcoholic beverage of any kind is allowed as long as it is done inside of the house and physical distancing is strictly observed. That according to oil companies, oil prices went up today. The price of gasoline was up by 1 peso and 25 centavos per liter, 55 centavos for every liter of diesel, and 2 pesos and 35 centavos for every liter of kerosene. But for Caltex, the price of kerosene was up by 2 pesos and 40 centavos. And still to come on Y News. Hong Kong allows people who conduct audit services to apply for quarantine exemption. Brazil now has the third largest coronavirus outbreak in the world. Recreational vehicle owners and medical professionals join together to help one another in finding a housing solution for frontline workers in need of isolation. Stay with us for more when Y News returns.
Sa panahon ng kagipitan, kayo ang aming sandigan. Patuloy na maaasahan, serbisyo nyo'y di matatawaran. Ilaw sa kadiliman ang inyong kabutihan, sakripisyo'y di matutumbasan. Aming handog sa inyo'y taimtim na dasal na kayo sana'y ingatan. Isang hiling na kayo'y laging patnubayan. Sa ganito lamang namin kayo mapapasalamatan. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga kawani at empleyado ng mga bangko at maliliit na pautangan kung saan tayo ay nakakakuha ng ating mga pera na ginagasto sa araw-araw. At maraming salamat din sa lahat ng mga maliliit na negosyante, nagtitinda, nagbubuhat ng mga gulay para tayo ay maserbisyohan. Isang taus-pusong pasasalamat. Handog ko po sa inyo ang mga bulaklak na ito para sa mga bagong bayani. Maraming salamat.
Ito ang tama at maling paggamit ng bleach kung gagamitin na panglinis sa bahay. Ihalo ang 1/4 cup ng bleach sa 1 galon na tubig. Iwasan na paghaluin ng bleach at ang mga produkto na may ammonia tulad ng panglinis ng salamin dahil makagagawa ito ng nakalalason na chloramine. Huwag haluan ng alcohol ang bleach dahil nakalilikha ito ng chloroform na makasasama sa kalusugan kapag nalanghap. Huwag din paghaluin ng bleach at asido dahil nakalilikha ito ng chlorine gas na kapag nalanghap ay makasasama sa baga. Tandaan na mahalaga ang kalinisan at kaalaman para maiwasan ang sakit. A reminder from UNTV, your public service channel. Ito ang ilan sa madalas itanong tungkol sa COVID-19. Namamatay ba ang coronavirus kapag mainit ang panahon? Ayon sa WHO, nabubuhay at naipapasa ang virus kahit sa mga lugar na mainit ang klima. Naipapasa ba ang COVID-19 sa pamamagitan ng kagat ng lamok? Wala pang ebidensya na naipapasa ang sakit sa pamamagitan ng kagat ng lamok. Makapagbibigay proteksyon ba laban sa COVID-19 ang pagkain ng bawang? Kahit may antimicrobial properties ang bawang, wala pang sapat na ebidensya na nakapagbibigay proteksyon ng pagkain ng bawang laban sa COVID-19. Matanda lang ba ang maaapektuhan ng COVID-19? Anumang edad ay pwedeng magkasakit ng COVID-19. Mas malubha ang kalagayan kapag dinapuan ng COVID-19 ang mga may diabetes, sakit sa puso, hypertensive, asthma at may respiratory illness. Magagamot ba ng antibiotics ang COVID-19? Walang bisa ang antibiotics sa coronavirus dahil ang pinupuksa nito ay bakterya lamang. Pinapainom ng antibiotics ang isang COVID-19 patient kung may bacterial co-infection. Tandaan na mahalaga ang kalinisan at kaalaman para makaiwas sa sakit. A reminder from UNTV, your public service channel.
Gaano ba tayo kahanda sa posibleng pagdating ng isang sakuna? Taon-taon nasa 20 bagyo ang dumadaan sa ating bansa. Di na rin bago sa atin ang mga pagbaha sa panahon ng tag-ulan. Bawat araw din may napapaulat na mga sunog, pati na mga pagyanig ng lupa sa iba't ibang lugar. Dito sa Metro Manila, pinaghahandaan natin ang posibleng pagtama ng isang malakas na lindol na kung tawagin ay The Big One. Gaano nga ba tayo kahanda kung may dumating na sakuna? Meron na ba tayong first aid kit, go bag, o kaya naman emergency plan sa ating mga tahanan? Manood ng Lifesaver upang matuto ng disaster preparedness at malaman ang mga dapat gawin kung sakaling dumating ang isang sakuna. Tandaan, mahalaga ang kaalaman at abilidad. Para sa oras ng kalamidad, ikaw ay Lifesaver.
Matanda ka na. Wala kang silbi. So, mag-example na ang mga nagkakasalan and may kakayan kung nabigyan ng pagkakataon.
Did you know that 20 billion bacteria live in your mouth? These microbes can cause gum disease, dental decay, stinky breath, and may lead to more serious health problems such as heart disease. It is advisable to brush our teeth for 2 minutes, and don't forget to brush your tongue and side of cheeks as well to reduce the bacteria and freshen your breath. For more healthcare tips, watch UNTV, your public service channel. Kasama ba ang inyong lugar sa dadaanan ng West Valley Fault? Sa mga nakatira sa Quezon City, Marikina, Pasig at Makati, ito ang mga barangay na madadaanan o malapit sa West Valley Fault. Sa Quezon City, Bagong Silangan, Bagong Bayan, Batasan Hills, Blue Ridge B, Libis, Matandang Balara, Pansol, White Plains, Ugong Norte, Loyola Heights, Pasong Putik Proper at Payatas. Sa Marikina, Barangka, Industrial Valley, Malanday at Tumanang. Sa Pasig, Bagong Ilog at Ugong. Sa Makati City, East Rembo, Pembo, Rizal at Comembo. Pinapayuhan ang lahat na malapit sa West Valley Fault o may 5 metro mula sa fault line na palaging maghanda sakaling lumindol. Laging tandaan na sa oras ng kalamidad, mahalaga ang kaalaman at abilidad. Isang paalala mula sa UNTV, your public service channel.
Y News returns. Manila City families identified as beneficiaries of the city's second tranche of the Social Amelioration Crisis Assistance Program await 1,000 pesos per household. Dante Amento will explain why.
Today is the deadline of submission of the list of beneficiaries for the second tranche of City Amelioration Crisis Assistance Fund, or CACAF, in Manila. It has an approved budget of 621 million pesos. The program aims to give 1,000 pesos to each of 607,000 families in Manila City.
Mas mabilis ninyong maipadala sa amin, mas mabilis naming maipadadala sa inyo ang tulong natin muli sa maliit nating kaparaanan sa bawat pamilyang Manileño.
The city government was able to give 610 million pesos worth of assistance to more than 600,000 families during the first tranche of CACAF. Meanwhile, all regular city employees received their mid-year bonus today. The amount is equivalent to an employee's 1 month's worth of salary.
Sana po ay magbuti kayo sa inyong tungkulin, sa inyong mga gampanin, sa kanya-kanya inyong departamento para maglingkod ng maayos.
Dantiamento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Senate Committee on Public Services began its preliminary hearing on the Abs-Cbn franchise bills today. However, some senators expressed reservations in tackling the proposed measures without the approved version of the franchise bill emanating from the House of Representatives. According to Senator Francis Tolentino, they may be violating the Constitution and conducting the hearing since the House has yet to approve its version.
That this hearing might be premature. So kung tayo ay magkakamali dito at ito po ay ma-strike down ng Supreme Court, sayang po yung pinagpagura natin at baka ma-overturn po yung bill na lalabas, yung batas na lalabas at matigil na naman po yung ABS-CBN.
However, Senate floor leaders Franklin Drilon and Miguel Zubiri maintain the act is not unconstitutional as long as they wait for the House's version before submitting a committee report. The two leaders say this has been a practice at the Senate, specifically on appropriation and tax bills, which also need to emanate from the House. Former Chief Justice Renato Puno says it is best if the Senate would wait for the approved bill from the lower chamber. However, former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile argues the Senate can discuss bills in aid of legislation whether if there was a bill or not. The former Senate leader also questioned why the Congress opted for a provisional franchise instead of a permanent franchise. However, he says he cannot understand the urgency behind the move.
If Congress can grant a temporary franchise, what is the impelling or compelling reason for Congress not to grant a permanent franchise with a reasonable period of 25 years?
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, who leads the proceedings, further clarifies the hearing is only anticipatory and they will conduct another hearing once the House formally transmits its approved version of the franchise bill. ABS-CBN President and CEO Carlo Katigbak is hopeful they would be granted a 25-year franchise.
We made a commitment to them that we would not take away any jobs for 3 months. We continue to lose a substantial amount of money every month, Your Honor, and I'm afraid that if we cannot get back on air soon, by August we may already have to consider beginning a retrenchment process.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee of the Whole also started its inquiry on the COVID-19 response and plans of the government with the administration's economic managers and members of the Interagency Task Force against COVID-19. The Department of Finance says its priorities in reviving the economy include the ramping up of the Build infrastructure program spending, mass hiring of contact tracers, and attracting foreign investors. Meanwhile, the Department of Health says the budget for COVID-19 response this year is enough under the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act.
The House of Representatives has decided to drop House Bill 6732, which aims to grant ABS-CBN a provisional franchise until October 31st, 2020. In his speech, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano says the House bill was dropped because of divisiveness in the lower house and the agreement of the House leadership. Instead, Cayetano states that the legislative franchise will immediately hear the bills granting ABS-CBN a 25-year franchise. The Speaker says they will give full autonomy to the Legislative Franchise Committee to deal with the issue in an impartial hearing. He also assures that all sides will be heard. The House Speaker also said the lower chamber will continue to tackle COVID-19 related bills in pursuit of resolving the COVID-19 crisis in the country. And for the news abroad, here's Stephanie C. live from Hong Kong. Good evening, Stephanie.
Good evening, William.
Stephanie? Yes, Stephanie, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm also good, thank you. Stephanie, has the Hong Kong government eased the coronavirus restrictions even more at this point?
That's right, William. In fact, there's a certain category of people allowed to apply for quarantine exemption. I will also report to you updates in Mexico where the automotive and mining sectors begin to reopen. But Brazil has a different scenario because it now has the third largest coronavirus outbreak in the world.
Oh, all right, Stephanie. Please tell us why.
The Hong Kong government has announced that people who conduct audit services or enterprises providing construction-related services on the mainland can apply for an exemption from the compulsory quarantine arrangement. The government may designate any person or category of people from exemption from quarantine. An example is if a person travel is necessary for purposes relating to manufacturing operations that contribute to Hong Kong's economic development. Certified public accountants, partners, directors, or employees of practice units registered with the Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants are also included. An exempted person must only travel to and stay in the mainland area or city where the professional services will be provided. They must also take every precautionary measure to ensure personal hygiene and avoid unnecessary social contact while in the mainland area or city. After returning to Hong Kong, the exempted person will be subject to a 14-day medical surveillance arranged by Hong Kong's Department of Health. Mexico issued guidelines on Monday for restarting operations in the automotive, mining, and constructing centers. This despite a growing national toll from the COVID-19 pandemic and concerns about unsafe workplaces. With Mexico's coronavirus death toll having surged past 5,300 and with nearly 52,000 known cases, officials are wrestling with how to restart key industries without triggering a greater spread of the highly contagious respiratory virus. Mexico's guidelines published overnight require companies to submit to authorities' health protocols for exiting the coronavirus lockdown. Firms will then be told within 72 hours if they can resume operations. As part of efforts to protect workers, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador says that companies would have to answer an extensive questionnaire. South Sudan's Vice President Riek Machar and his wife Angelina Teny, who serves as defense minister, have tested positive for the coronavirus, his office said on Monday. It said that a number of his office staff and bodyguards had also tested positive for COVID-19. Makar said on state television that he would be in self-isolation for 14 days in his residence. So far, South Sudan has recorded 347 cases of coronavirus and 6 deaths. From having the 4th largest coronavirus outbreak in the world, yesterday Brazil's now 3rd worst hit nation. The number of cases are up and rising in the vast nation that's home to over 211 million people. Chris Perez tells us why.
Brazil's hospitals are nearing full capacity as the largest South American nation becomes ground zero in the region for the number of coronavirus cases, surpassing those of Spain and Italy. With over 255,000 cases as of today, it has surpassed the United Kingdom's numbers, rising in the ranks as the 3rd largest outbreak in the world. The global distinction is likely to pile pressure on President Jair Bolsonaro, who has been fiercely critical of the orders by many of Brazil's state governors for strict social isolation and quarantine to combat the spread of the virus, including the closure of schools, shops, and restaurants. Bolsonaro argues that the toll on the economy is becoming unbearable, and businesses must be allowed to reopen as soon as possible. But São Paulo Governor João Doria said the virus and not the quarantine measures are to blame for the economy's woes.
We have to beat the pandemic so as to rescue the economy, the national economy, and also here in São Paulo. That is why we have to provide all the necessary support for science, for medicine, for health.
Rio de Janeiro is another Brazilian state that has been badly affected by coronavirus. The grounds of its iconic Maracanã Stadium complex has been converted to a makeshift hospital to treat COVID-19 patients. A recent poll by the MDA Research Institute and sponsored by Transit Association CNT showed that 43% of Brazilians thought he was doing a bad or terrible job, up from 31% in January. Data seem to show that Bolsonaro's popularity has taken a hit over his handling of the pandemic. Chris Perez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The novel coronavirus is spreading so fast among the indigenous people in the furthest part of the Amazon rainforest. Doctors have been evacuating critical COVID-19 patients by plane to the only intensive care units in the vast region. The government's Indigenous Health Services reported on Monday that at least 23 indigenous people have died from COVID-19. The victims were in a remote tribal territory, 11 of them in the upper reaches of the Amazon River bordering Colombia and Peru. Brazil's main tribal umbrella organization, APIB, reported on Monday a rise in the death toll with 103 confirmed deaths, up to 18 on April 3. Three-quarters of the 540 confirmed cases of coronavirus among 40 tribes reported by APIB are in the Amazon. And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Stephanie C., reporting live from Hong Kong. In the USA, recreational vehicle owners and medical professionals joined together to help one another in finding a housing solution for frontline workers in need of isolation. And the result is just surprising. Nina Armilio tells the story why.
It all began with love. Holly Haggard's response to the call of Emily Phillips' family, that simple act of kindness of lending out an RV, has turned into a globally known charitable deed.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Jason.
We miss you.
At first, it was the Phillips family who needed an RV because Dr. Jason Phillips is always exposed to germs and virus, being an emergency room physician at this time of the coronavirus pandemic. Holly has just what they needed, a housing solution.
I was flabbergasted that somebody would give me their home. They didn't even know me.
Holly and Emily founded RVs for MDs to connect recreational vehicles or camper owners with frontline healthcare workers and first responders who need safe, temporary, and mobile accommodations in order to protect their families amid the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Casey Demetz, the PR Director Assistant of RVs for MDs, every match is the best match.
I guess our goal is to get, as many people as we can. We have to have enough donors to lend out. They're not donating it to keep, they're just lending it out.
Founded in North Texas, RVs for MDs has facilitated some 1,500 matches across the U.S. That's through their Facebook community, RVs for MDs to fight coronavirus. The group, run entirely by volunteers and social media connections, has grown to more than 30,000 members in less than a month.
Personally, myself, I've been quite surprised at all the goodness and kindness that there's been, and all the love and support that the donors have given.
Any individual or organization that wants to donate an RV can start the process by completing the RVs for MDs form. To request an RV, complete the RVs for MDs form, and a member of the team will be in contact with you to start the matching process. Many are amazed by the spread of love through this volunteerism and the RVs for MDs message.
Be a good human. This worst time is really bringing out the good time in people. Give a little, have a little heart.
Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, we are at a time when the country is under a state of health emergency. The cooperation of all Filipinos is imperative to avoid a further spread of the deadly virus.
We are calling on everyone to be calm, and most importantly, let us join together in prayer for our country and for the whole world to survive this crisis.
You may join us in our daily UNTV community prayer at these hours as flashed on your screens. And those are the reasons behind the news, May 19, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.